What I want for myself, I want for everyone. And I don't mean that in the sense specifically. I mean in general. That's why I'm a libertarian. Because this is the only platform that I've ever seen in my life that leaves enough open space for everyone to join, that has the common foundation of the NAP, the non-aggression principle. I resisted the temptation to join any party because in my heart of hearts, I don't believe in gangs. I don't believe in throwing up colors. I don't believe in that we should be grouped together. But it's such an amazing party and such amazing principles that how could you not want to be a part of this? This is amazing to me. In some ways, we look back, but in most ways, we look way forward. And it's hard for people to wrap their heads around sometimes of how advanced at the same time how old-fashioned we are. It's amazing to me because we want to take it back in some ways to the founders, and then other ways we want to take it so far ahead that people have a problem wrapping their heads around it. So that's our job. And as we all know, top-heavy politics don't work. And I've recently discovered why they don't work. It's biology. We are not meant to be removed from any form of leadership. The way we interact as human beings, we're amazing. I'm in love with humans. We're amazing. We're so diverse. You look at any creature on the face of this earth, and there is nothing out there like us that we know yet. So when you take top-heavy politics and you remove the individual, then biologically it's incorrect. Because no matter how well-intentioned a leader is, he cannot go over about 150 faces. Then he has to adopt in another part of his brain, which is the mathematical portion of his brain. And then we become a number. And then our individual rights are taken away from us. Not even intentionally. It's just the way it works. It's biology. So when I discovered this, I got so excited inside because it's proof that we're on the right path. And so when we're abstracted, as a populace is, as a foreign land is, then it's not hard to kill. It's not hard to bomb masses. But when you hear about a daughter that got hit by a car, then your brain automatically attaches that and you make the emotional connection. But you remove the empathy, then it becomes a dopamine fix. That's biology. So I just want to let everybody know we're right. Every day I wake up and I run my businesses, and I'm in what some friends of mine call a libertarian hell. I'm in the marijuana business. Now, our party has really wanted this for a long time, but it got in the hands of the wrong people. So every day I wake up and I have anxiety. I don't breathe right. I don't sleep well. Constantly you're under the scrutiny of government. I have so many cameras in my buildings that you literally can't turn around unless you go into the bathroom and not be filmed. At any time, they can come and confiscate that film and review it and completely invade, well, my building. At any time, they can take away my license, figure out any numerous ways to be fined, and what that does to anybody that's in a private industry, it's not private. It's not legalized. When we had this going through, and I knew what the bill was, I rejected it, and everybody was like, why? You've been fighting for this for so long. Because no one pays attention. Government officials stamp, move on, stamp, move on, stamp, move on, stamp, move on. They didn't even see the fine print there that literally at the end of the day, I am taxed 75%. That's before I cover my overhead. That's not free market in any form of the sense. In fact, I'll use a word that we don't use very often anymore since the 80s. That's communist. It just is. It's simple and plain and simple as it is. And when I call politicians in Olympia, they're like, oh, it's going well, right? And I'm like, for you, all that money goes. And here's the rub. They promised for that money to go somewhere, and it's not going there. It's amazing to me. So yeah, I know firsthand where things can go with top-heavy politics. I know firsthand, every day I live it, as a libertarian, how stressful it can be. And by the way, a biological side note, that's called cortisol, which shuts down your immune system, which shuts down oxytocin, which is the love chemical. These things are important for us as human beings because that is what has created the evolution from us walking around in loincloths with spears to where we're at today. And when you remove that and you have a constant threat and a constant fear of something happening, you shut off all love, literally, biologically. You shut off everything. Your nails don't grow right. Your immune system shuts down, your liver, your kidneys. Cortisol is not a good thing for anyone except for run. Then it's good. And it indicates to the whole room, just like the gazelles that sense the lion. One head shoots up, the next head shoots up. Everybody knows something's going on, but they don't know why. But one guy on the corner sees the lion, and they all run. That's cortisol. But when you have it constantly flowing through your system, whether it's a fear of a cop, whether it's a fear of a liquor cannabis board agent coming into your hard-earned money and taking it all away at any time, taking everything that you've earned with your blood, sweat, and tears, your whole life savings, and it's just not on my end, the retail end. It's also on the producer-processors, they call them, growers. And when I talk to these people, they're so afraid all the time. They're up all the time. So that's what big government I speak firsthand from. So I'd like to speak about something on a positive note after that doom and gloom. Voluntarism is awesome. The only way to get oxytocin that I mentioned, the love chemical in our body, is to do something completely selfless, 100% with no other motivation. And the beautiful thing about oxytocin, not only do you get a shot of oxytocin when you put yourself out there selflessly, but the person that you help gets a shot of oxytocin. And not only that, but the person that witnesses that gift gets a shot of oxytocin too. They don't even have to know you. Voluntarism works. We don't need government intervention to make society work. It is biologically a fact. We didn't get here with government. We still will get where we're going without government interference because that's how we got here. It frustrates me to hear we need government to keep us safe because that's not true, because we wouldn't have made it here if we had to have government to keep us safe. It doesn't make any sense. We weren't populous as 150 people working together freely and and there was always a government. No, it worked the other way around. And then some guys that were a little smarter than the others went, well, I'm bigger than you. Thump, I'll take that. Unless you bow down and kiss my ass. That's how it all started. And then it just evolved from there, and then we kind of got out of that. We evolved, and here we are. Now we think democracy works. And it doesn't. Because we all know right here that when mob rules, you get fear. What if that person votes for this and blah, blah, blah? Mob rules, more cortisol. So, as we know, change always happens on a social level. So, effectively, what do we have to do? We have to figure out a way to shape ourselves to become leaders that people want to follow. Here's my case in point. What do you focus on? Now I'm an arguer. Don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming anybody. But what do you focus on when you meet someone? This is what I've had to call myself out on. If you focus on, oh, God, socialist again. Jeez. Oh, no, there's a Republican on the TV. Cruz wants to make the sand glow. Do we focus on that? I ask myself this every day. Or what do I focus on to make the commonality? Let's make that bond. Because the only way anyone's going to be ever persuaded is to get them to agree with you halfway. And then eke away at it. Because if you're a good leader, if you're a great leader, then they will be inspired by you. Yeah. And inspiration is beyond anything. When you get inspired and they sense that chemically, it's beautiful, then they have no choice but to go, what's going on over there? But if you argue and you put them down and you start digging into the differences, then that's all they focus on and that's all they'll guard against, and then every other point will be out. So, I'll leave you with this. It's one of my favorite quotes. The goal of most leaders is to get people to think highly of themselves as a leader. The goal of the exceptional leader is to get the person to think highly of themselves. So if we can keep that in our mind, and when we approach people, and we want to make sure that they feel unthreatened, I like to keep that in my mind. So, thank you.